Best on Tour this week is presented by Best on Tour. Sign up for free at bestontour.net. Welcome to another edition of Best on Tour this week, where we talk about what happened on and off the water in the world of professional bass fishing. I'm your host, Matt Pangrac, along with Dave Rush from Best on Tour. And Dave, we have a lot of on-the-water action that took place this past week with the Elite Series 2026 season kicking off and also the start to the MLF Pro Circuit. Let's start in Alabama with a big win for a man who has back-to-back classic trophies on his resume.
Yes, and now adds his first Elite Series win to his trophy case, to his resume. That would be Mr. Hank Cherry with a total of 88-11, taking home $102,000 for his effort and getting the Elite Series season kicked off in a big way. First event without forward-facing sonar and going with a little old-school technique. I'm sure you've heard it over and over ad nauseum now, but swimming a small grub. And Mr. Hank Cherry getting it done in a big way. Huge bag on day 4, sealing the deal at Lake Guntersville. And, man, state of Alabama, Lake Guntersville treats that guy right.
Absolutely. The top 8 anglers in the final standings averaged a 20-pound bag. Interestingly, it was Hank's 5th win with Bassmaster, but his first Elite Series win. He had an Open in Alabama in 2012. He won Toyota Trucks All-Star Week in 2013 in Michigan. Then obviously the back-to-back classics in Alabama and Fort Worth in 20 and 21. And finally gets the first Elite Series win and the $100,000 that goes with it in the FXR Bassmaster Elite Series on Lake Guntersville this past week. Another fairly dominating victory took place in Florida on the Harris Chain as the MLF Pro Circuit kicked off their competition, along with kind of the debut of the new 3-hour scope period. Drew Gill wins that event by a 17-plus pound margin with 66.04. He came to the scales with 3 fish for 21 pounds on day 1 and never really looked back. Primarily caught the majority of his big fish on an umbrella rig, a Yumbrella with 3.5-inch minnows. Also added some key fish on a chatterbait, and then his new Spotlight minnow, which, Dave, he already has a win under his belt in 2026 with.
Yeah, he is off to the perfect start, working on that perfect season. Of course, took home the victory at the BPT on Lake Guntersville and now backs it up in the state of Florida with another victory. And we've talked about it, man. This guy's on pace to have quite the career starting off at a young age, and it does not look like he is going to slow down anytime soon.
We saved the industry news for last. This could have easily led the show. The biggest bass fishing tournament first place wise ever announced came out of nowhere. I know there were a bunch of behind the scenes anglers who had signed NDAs and couldn't talk about this. But last week, the World Bass Enterprises announced the Champions Tournament. $1.25 million to the winner, $3 million $3 million purse for this event. They take the top 25 from the Bass Pro Tour standings, the top 25 from the Bassmaster Elite Series standings in 2026. There's also a win and you're in element, so roughly a low 50s angler field. That's the only way you can get into this event. October 28th through November 1st in Nashville on Old Hickory Lake. Brian Bird, the CEO and founder of World Bass Enterprises, he's been making the rounds on the podcast and the shows, but a lot of money being pumped into the top anglers to close out 2026 with what could potentially be one of the biggest things that we've ever seen in the sport.
Absolutely. Returning to a familiar venue that we haven't seen in quite a while, Old Hickory Lake. And it sounds like a lot of plans for this event. Talk of an expo, some concert series, very reminiscent of the Toyota Texas Bass Classic early days. And man, looking forward to seeing how this thing develops, and something definitely to put on your calendar for the end of October, early November in Nashville, Tennessee, if you were a fan of high stakes bass fishing.
The elites are back on the water this upcoming week on Lake Martin, back-to-back events. Usually it's the Florida swing to kick things off, or the Texas swing. This year it is the Alabama swing, after Alabama was not on the schedule for the last year. So a quarter of the elite season will be done when we do this next week. But you can stay up to date with everything that is going on in the industry by signing up for the Best on Tour newsletter. Get behind the scenes of the top fishing tours, learn the business side of the fishing industry, become a better angler. It comes to your inbox once a week. You can sign up completely free at bestontour.net. Dave, it was a heck of a first week with both of the major tours in action, and it'll just continue to get more exciting as we get further and further into 2026.
Yep, lots to look forward to.
We will talk to everybody next week. See ya.